Alright guys, so I normally don't cover super serious topics like this. Not that I don't ever get political, but normally it's surrounding like stupid culture war stuff. This is obviously a very serious topic. It's a very sensitive topic. I'm going to try to handle it as best I can. So, in the words of Philip DeFranco, let's just jump right into it. Charlie Kirk was a conservative political activist. I knew him as the guy that goes around college campuses debating college kids, and he has tragically passed away after being shot at one of his events. That is horrible. I fully denounce political violence. I think that if you disagree with somebody, you should engage them in the battlefield of ideas, not a literal battlefield. Now, after this went down, I started noticing something pretty much immediately. Now, I think that the conservative media machine are full of demonic ghouls, quite frankly, but you gotta give them some credit because they work fast and somehow they're all just like right on the same page, because pretty much immediately they all started saying that this was a left-wing attack, that we need to get revenge on the left, basically calling for retribution.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today.
It's too late to turn the temperature down. This is not a time to hold hands. It's a time for justice. It is a time for good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail for the sake of our country and for our families and our children.
That's intense. Here's the thing. Are there people on the left that, advocate for this type of thing, that are celebrating this guy's death? Of course there are.
So I keep on seeing posts about this Charlie dude, whatever, Kirk dude, whatever, regardless. And let me just say this. I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Don't stop with him. Don't let him be the end all. Get rid of them all.
Obviously, that person is insane. Feel free to go after people that are saying stuff like that. Here's the problem, though. You're going to notice this. Conservatives are going to point to people on social media that are advocating for this. Because virtually every single politician, left-wing politician, that came out and spoke about this fully condemned the shooter. Some of them try to say nice things about Charlie. Left-wing politicians, they don't advocate for this type of thing. Broadly speaking, media figures, denounced it. And pretty immediately I was disturbed by this. Mind you, we didn't even know who the shooter was. And they were trying to start some kind of civil war with the left. For all we knew, it could have been some Nick Fuentes type figure. But the right-wing media machine just bounced right on that. And here's what Trump had to say right after it happened.
It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible.
Now, first of all, I'm pretty sure that video is AI. His head movements are not natural. His hand placement, it's very still. His fingers are slightly moving. I'm pretty sure that Trump is so senile that he just wasn't capable of giving a speech like that without any cuts or anything. And so I'm pretty sure we are now living in an age where our government is putting up AI videos of the president addressing the nation. We are living in a dystopia. Regardless, let's attack the substance of what our robot overlord had to say.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
Okay, so he is flatly blaming the left for causing the death of Charlie Kirk because we call everybody we disagree with Nazis or fascists or yada yada yada. Donald Trump told Republican donors at his Florida resort this weekend that President Joe Biden is running a Gestapo administration, the latest example of the former president employing the language of Nazi Germany in his campaign rhetoric.
You know all about that. Take away our energy, if you can believe it. No fossil fuel. Destroy our Second Amendment, attack the right to life, and replace American freedom with left-wing fascism. Left wing, we're going left wing all the way. Fascists, they are fascists. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them, but they're getting closer and closer. We have to win this election. But the proud people of Minnesota will not let this happen.
Okay, if you say so. Conservatives called Barack Obama a communist for years. Like, are we really going to sit here and pretend like both sides don't maybe use terms that they shouldn't be using? Like, are we really going to pretend like this is a uniquely Democrat thing? And the thing is that I might be willing to step to the table and have that conversation of like, hey, maybe some of our rhetoric is irresponsible. But we're just so far away from anything reasonable that I just don't know how we can possibly have this conversation. Like, conservatives will, on the one hand, say that Democrats calling people fascists led to the shooting of Charlie Kirk. But they won't even admit that Donald Trump's rally, like 5 seconds before January 6th, is responsible for said riot.
Here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about.
Again, like 5 seconds after that, they raided the Capitol. Trump did not call them off for hours. Right? He was trying to like flip votes. In the meantime, he was literally trying to steal an election. He was doing an insurrection. And obviously, we're not even going to get that far with conservatives. They won't even acknowledge that this speech incited a riot. Because at some point during the speech, he says, I know you'll march peacefully.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity.
But like the entire rest of it is Donald Trump instilling the feeling within his supporters that the Democrats are stealing the election. So you can get mad at Democrats for like calling people fascists or whatever, but your president is calling the elected Democrats and the mainstream media radical leftists that are trying to steal your country. You don't think that that speech is going too far? You don't think that that is going to radicalize some people? Because here's the other thing. Let's go back to Donald Trump's message. So the AI overlord Trump only brings up attacks that the left do.
From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives.
Now, he also brings up Luigi Mangione. Let's be real, that was a bipartisan issue. Okay, there are people both on the right and the left defending that. Pretty wild stuff. Anyways, we don't need to get into that. Just so that we're being crystal clear, there have been plenty of attacks against the left in recent years. Whether it be Melissa Mortman being assassinated earlier this year, whether it be the attempted murder on Josh Shapiro, whether it be Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, being attacked with a hammer. This notion that, like, the left is going after the right. We tried talking to the left, but now they're resorting to violence. It's like, there is political violence against both sides right now. The AI overlord version of Trump could have easily brought up all of the left-wing attacks as well, called for the entire country to lower the temperature, try to reason with both sides, and try to unite us as a country. But he refuses to do so. Like, the unfortunate reality is that conservative politicians, which are led by Trump, and conservative media, they don't want peace. They don't want us to peacefully coexist. I don't want to go too deep into Charlie Kirk and try to assess whether he was a good person or not. Whether or not he's a good or bad person isn't really relevant to this video, and I wanted to mostly keep this about the reaction to his shooting. But this clip is just a perfect example of what I'm talking about, so let's take a look at what Charlie Kirk had to say about Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, a lot. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled, Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
Like, what? Why would you say that? Again, we're being told that the left is to blame for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. When you guys have these skeletons in your closet, what are we doing here? And it gets worse because I brought up Paul Pelosi being attacked with a hammer. This is Donald Trump Jr. mocking him. Reminder, Paul Pelosi was an 85-year-old man and his skull was fractured. Donald Trump Jr. is mocking him on social media. Look at all these people in the replies, laughing emojis. It's pretty disturbing stuff. Let's see what our president, Donald Trump, had to say about all of this.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Just mocking a man who had his skull fractured with a hammer because he's the husband of your political opponent. By the way, all the conservatives in the audience laughing. How are we supposed to turn the temperature down? How is the left supposed to introspect when you guys will never do it yourselves? It does take two to tango. Conservatives will never, say that this stuff was bad. They'll never apologize for any of this. They'll never denounce Trump for being objectively horrible. Let me just play you a clip here. In the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, when political violence is just a regular thing that's going on, this is Donald Trump straight up minimizing and justifying right-wing violence.
Radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
By the way, I got that clip from a YouTuber because I tried to find the source, and I'm pretty sure Fox News deleted that from their interview. So no apology, no statement from Donald Trump. Just delete the evidence, right? This is what we're working with here. Although I will say it is pretty insane to see even Fox News, that lady was like, Lord Emperor Trump, maybe you could denounce some of the right-wing violence. I think the tensions are getting pretty high. Maybe you want to lower the temperature. And he won't do it. He refuses to do so. And this is the other thing that I want to emphasize. When conservatives are attacking the left on this issue, you're going to see them point to exclusively random people on Twitter and TikTok and some social media figures. I can point to the President of the United States. The President of the United States is minimizing and justifying right-wing political violence. And I've said this already, but I'm just going to say it again. You are not going to see any of the conservative media attacking Trump over this. You're not going to see any of the conservative media calling for Trump to lower the temperature and unite the country. And so I guess I'll just end with this. I know a lot of conservatives in my life. I love a lot of conservatives in my life. Don't get radicalized by these people. The right-wing media machine is effective. They are all over our Twitter algorithms. They infest all of pop culture. If you go on the Joe Rogan podcast, if you go on comedy podcasts, if you watch sports stuff, all of these talking points get circulated. I can already feel that the mainstream opinion on all of this is that the left is ultra violent and that the left attacked Charlie Kirk, and that it's all the left's fault, and that the left broadly is celebrating it. Like, that is a narrative that is going out, and conservative media is going to try to radicalize you. They're going to try to get you comfortable with violent retribution against your fellow left-wing Americans, against Democratic politicians. And it's scary. I think it's going to be effective. But again, I know a lot of conservative. I know that you guys are not bad people. So this is just me pleading out to you guys. Like, recognize that this is a problem. Political violence is a problem. But it's a problem on both sides. And the only way that we can possibly come together on this and fix this issue is for both the left to acknowledge left-wing political violence when it happens, and for the right to acknowledge right-wing political violence when it happens, for the left to denounce their bad actors, and for the right to denounce their bad actors. Until that happens, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Like I said before, it takes two to tango. Now, if you guys do decide that this all needs to escalate into some kind of civil war, and you decide that you need to, be violent against Democrats or whatever, just know that you do not have the moral high ground. You are not justified in doing that. And if you do it, it is because you have either been brainwashed or you're a bad person, no better than the guy that killed Charlie Kirk. Anyways, I guess we'll just wait around and see our country implode in on itself. Or hey, maybe in 2 weeks we'll all just move on, because that also is a thing that happens in our country. Like, who even remembers Epstein? Am I right? Goodbye.